devant vous a freiné d'un coup. C'est un accident grave. Moi, ce qui m'intéresse, c'est de comprendre l'enchaînement des faits.
Pourquoi vous dites grave?
Méfie-toi, Victoire. Pour la tranquillité de ton foyer, tu dois chasser cette bonne.
Là, on peut y aller comme ça?
Bah oui, comme ça. Allez, vous avez 2 heures. Profitez, hein. Filez.
Hello and welcome to Arts24. It's time for our weekly deep dive into French cinema. And I'm joined, as always, by Manon Kerjean from the Lost in Translation Film Club. Hi, Manon.
Hello.
Now, we're starting this week with 4 new releases. Alice Vial's L'âme idéale, or You Found Me in English. It's her debut feature after several award-winning shorts. Now, this film stars Jonathan Cohen, who we're more used to seeing in comic roles here in France, but this is something far more surprising for him. Tell us about this film. What made it stand out for you, Manon?
Well, it's one of those debuts that feels strangely mature, like a filmmaker who already knows exactly what world she wants to build. So Alice Vial comes from 5 shorts and some TV work, but here she takes a bold step into a deeply emotional and supernatural story. So the film follows Elsa, played by the extraordinary Magali Lépine-Blondeau, a Québécois actress making her first appearance in a French production. So Elsa is a nurse, but she also has a gift. She can feel when a soul hasn't found peace yet. And the character is inspired by a real woman Alice Vial met, a nurse medium who helped her deceased patients to ease their passing. Here is a glimpse.
Dites-moi ce que vous avez fait hier soir.
Je suis tombée en scooter.
Ça va?
Je pense qu'il faut aller aux urgences, là.
Ah non, merci.
T'es comme moi.
Il était charmant, je vous l'ai déjà dit. Moi, j'ai raccroché.
Mais raccroché de quoi?
Des hommes, des histoires.
Promettez-moi de jamais renoncer à la tendresse.
Vous avez ce qu'il faut? De quoi faire des strips?
J'ai des vêtements que je peux enlever, si c'est vraiment nécessaire.
Oh, j'adore.
Le bus devant vous a freiné d'un coup. C'est un accident grave. Moi, ce qui m'intéresse, c'est de comprendre l'enchaînement des faits.
Pourquoi vous dites grave?
Il y a quand même eu un mort. Mademoiselle.
So given the theme here, it deals with death, I guess it requires a delicate balance. So is this more of a sort of gentle or heavy film?
Yes, what struck me is how the film talks about death, but in a strange, life-affirming way.
Okay.
Her approach is very delicate. She places supernatural elements in the everyday, in hospital corridors, in quiet apartments, on windy Normandy streets. And the film was shot mainly in Le Havre, and you can really feel the sea air and the grey lights. It's a setting that really allows emotions to echo.
Looks very atmospheric. And I guess it's something of a genre, films about the afterlife. Did you see any other movies, the influence seeping in here?
Well, her cinematic references say a lot. Ghost, for example,
Of course.
from the 90s, a film where the invisible world brushes up against the living, but always through emotion rather than too many special effects.
Let's move on now to Love Me Tender. This one's directed by Cazenave Cambet and adapted from Constance Debré's novel. It stars Vicky Krieps as a mother under pressure. Take a look.
Louise, c'est mon ex. Pour notre fils de 8 ans, on fait 1 semaine sur 2.
Coucou, maman.
Il n'y a jamais de problème. Moi, j'ai des histoires avec des filles. Allô? Paul?
Clémence, je t'ai dit, il ne veut pas te parler. Paul, il va très bien. Quand il te voit pas, il va très bien. Et dès qu'il te voit, c'est le bordel. Ça le bouleverse, ça le secoue. Tu le tirailles.
Nous allons rester dans cette pièce durant l'heure que tu as pour être avec ta maman.
Paul a besoin de voir sa mère.
On ne s'énerve pas, d'accord?
So Manon, tell us more about this story.
Yes, so the film follows Clémence, and as we could see in the clip, one day she tells her ex-husband that she's been in relationships with women. And from that moment, everything collapses. He reacts by taking the full custody of their son. And so the film becomes the story of a woman who has to fight to hold her life together while the whole society and French administration seems to be against her.
And as for the director, of course, this isn't just an adaptation. There's a real personal connection with the book written by Constance Debré. Let's hear a little more from Cazenave Cambet, talking about why she wanted to make this film on our sister show, À l'affiche.
I had read the book as soon as it came out in 2020. I was a young mother at the time. It's a novel that moved me deeply, not only because of the writing, but also because of the story it tells and the injustice suffered by the main character. It was an important read for me, and I was convinced that this mother needed to be brought to the screen, that she had something to contribute to the world of cinema.
So there are some big ideas in there, socio-political ideas, I guess, queer identity, motherhood. But overall, how did the film strike you?
I really, really loved it. I found it extremely powerful and honest. Cambet films motherhood without any cliches, and Creeps is magnetic. She has this physical intensity and this natural authority that clashes with the situation of Clémence, which is pretty fragile in the film.
She is a really interesting actor, definitely. Now to another powerful exploration of motherhood with La Condition, or The Condition. This one sees us taken to 1908, the turn of the 20th century, thanks to director Jérôme Bonnell.
Yes, so even if the two films take place in totally different eras, they echo each other on how society shapes and controls women's lives and bodies. Maternity isn't the main plot here, but the social expectations placed on women, including the pressure to be a wife and a mother in a certain way, are absolutely central. Let's watch a clip from the film.
Huguette m'a dit que tu t'étais trouvé mal.
C'est rien, sans doute la chaleur.
Il faut que tu te reposes, que tu prennes soin de toi. Je t'ai fait peur.
Vous ne connaissez pas la dernière? Céleste, notre petite bonne, est enceinte.
Enfin, qu'est-ce que...
Il va sans dire que cette grossesse déshonore notre maison.
Madame, je ne peux rien faire.
Céleste, nous voudrions garder l'enfant.
Vous voulez dire qu'il ne saura jamais que je suis sa mère?
So the dynamic between the characters there looks pretty intense. I should imagine that power dynamic, or the triangle there, is at the core of the film?
Very much. Céleste is a young maid working for Victoire and her husband André. And Victoire is supposed to be the perfect bourgeois wife, but she feels completely trapped in that role. And these two women, separated by social roles, start forming a bond that challenges everything around them. Bonnell explores how male domination operates quietly. And Swan Arlo's character, André, is the perfect example. He's polite, composed, respectable, yet carrying an internal violence shaped by centuries of patriarchy.
And like you point out, there are echoes of that previous film, Love Me Tender, here as well, even if they're separated by more than a century. This one's also adapted from a novel, right?
Yes, from Amour by Léonore de Recondo. Bonnell fell in love with the book, but took years to find the right angle. He didn't want to make a dusty period piece. He really wanted the story to speak to today's audiences. So he took some liberties, he added characters that aren't in the book, and he kind of reshaped the narrative to bring out the modern resonance. And it works. It feels like a period film, but with contemporary urgency.
Definitely holding up a mirror to some of the issues we still face today. Well, our last film this week is called Louise by Nicolas Quetel. What's your take on this one?
It's a beautiful surprise. It's a film about trauma and the shadow of childhood violence. The story follows a young woman who ran away at 15 and returns years later to reconnect with her mother and her sister, but without revealing who she really is.
Okay, so with that layer of secrecy, it's a bit like a psychological thriller?
Exactly, but it's more of an internal investigation than a suspense-driven one. Quetel plays with time through flashbacks and fractured memories so that we slowly piece together who Louise was, who she is, and what she's afraid of becoming.
And looking at the images there, it does seem to be quite visually striking.
Very much so. Quetel worked closely with his cinematographer to give each period of Louise's life its own atmosphere. So, for example, her childhood is very colorful, very glittery, and it creates a visual journey that echoes her emotional one.
And what about the performances? Because it's quite complex, children, adolescents acting in this kind of drama.
Well, Diane Rouxel is extraordinary. She's very mysterious and deeply moving without ever overplaying. And Cécile de France brings complexity to a mother who is not idealized, far from it. And also the soundtrack by Superpose is exceptional.
Okay, well, thanks for the tip. It sounds like an unexpected, intimate drama to wrap up the show with. Thanks for guiding us through all those French films this week once again. We'll leave you with a final look at Louise. Do remember to check in with us for more movies, arts and culture on our website and our social media too. There's more news coming up just after this.
Maman, c'est Louise. Louise, ma mère. Catherine.
Enchantée. Enchantée. Tu vas leur dire qui t'es?
Je suis qui, en fait?
Je sais rien sur moi. Mon autre fille, la grande sœur de Jeanne, elle est partie de la maison quand Jeanne était encore petite et c'est la dernière fois que je l'ai vue.
Il faut pas qu'il te trouve, ma princesse. Tu pourras avoir des gros problèmes avec ce que t'as fait.
Tu conseilles parfois? Elle te manque pas?